So what are the new buyer agent laws in California? Well, they span across the entire country to my knowledge. Ever since July 17th, 2024, their new buyer agent laws for real estate. Basically, nothing has changed, but you have to go in this full circle to get to the exact same result of where a seller most of the time is covering the agent commission. However, there's just a lot of steps you have to take now in real estate versus last year. So the first thing you have to do before submitting an offer on a property is a buyer has to sign a buyer broker agreement with a commission dollar amount in it. And you have to do that before you sign a purchase contract. Once that's signed, the buyer's agent then sends you a purchase contract to sign. And in that purchase contract, there is now a section that basically asks the seller to cover the buyer agent commission. And everything's always been negotiable. Real estate's always been negotiable. Commissions have always been negotiable. Nothing has essentially changed, but now the seller can come back and say, yes, accept the offer, or they can counter terms or they can counter a buyer agent commission. Now, in most cases, sellers are still compensating buyers agents. Okay, so I know a lot of buyers out there are scared to sign a buyer broker agreement because they don't want to be on the hook for paying a buyer's agent. But what used to happen before last year is from the seller proceeds, a listing agent would get paid commission and a buyer's agent would get paid commission. Essentially the same thing is happening. I'd say in 99% of the transactions, residential transactions, I am seeing that the seller is still compensating the buyer's agent. Now, what happens if a seller says, I don't want to compensate a buyer's agent? Well, there's some options. One, there are lenders out there who now will basically wrap the buyer agent commission into the loan as a closing cost. Two, if the seller says no, there's always the option to just counter back and say, yes, I want the seller to pay the commission. If a property sells for $1 million and then your buyer is looking at the neighbor house, which is the exact same, and the seller says, I want $1 million, but I'm not going to pay a buyer agent commission, well, then the buyer is smart enough to say, well, then I'm going to pay you less, because when the seller next door got $1 million for their property, that included paying a buyer's agent. So essentially, again, nothing is changing. 99% of the time, I am seeing that sellers are compensating buyer's agents. And it is very important, if you're a buyer, that you do work exclusively with an agent, probably a local agent who's been in the business a long time, because there's not a lot of inventory on the market. And if there's something you're looking for specifically and you work exclusively with a buyer's agent, they're going to put all of their time and effort to find you something, even if it's not on the market. They're going to find it for you if they know what they're doing. So anyway, I hope this helps. I hope this explains things. It's very unfortunate. It's just a bunch of attorneys, I guess, got together and said, let's just go suing everybody about these commissions. Really what happened is these attorneys made a lot of money. I even got personal letters sent to my house. I had advertisements on Instagram, trying to get me involved in the lawsuit to basically sue myself for representing myself. I guess they didn't know I was a real estate agent. So really, nothing has changed. It's just the way we go about it. Sellers are still paying commissions out of the proceeds at the close of escrow, but now you just have to sign a few more documents, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing scary. So if you are looking to purchase a property and you have more questions, you can always call or text me anytime. I'm at 949-836-5480, and happy hunting.